print out books written by America's beloved historian, like Gilles Lepore from Harvard. I mean, yeah, we have to, I actually kind of, it was about the New Year's historian conflagration, the very, burning fire that had been recorded. It was like New Year's in Lisbon, a Lisbon earthquake. The Lisbon's earthquake that truly had shaken the European history because of its, far-reaching consequential effects. That was really the moment. It was actually beautifully chronicled by such an accurate mind like Gilles Lepore. We had to print out almost 20 or 30 pages of her writing from New Republic. This is really another journal. Yeah, pretty much the liberal-minded journal. Liberal-minded here means, politically progressive minds. I mean, I'm not talking about the liberal and the libertarian. If you ever actually yesterday watched a different program, what did he actually say? That libertarian in American politics, it's more like yeah, the freedmen's descendants, those who follow the idea of a free market deregulations as a fundamental ideology to maintain the freedom in the market. Do you think that I actually heard about this distinction? How? You know what? I watched it on TV to know that liberal in American English is quite different from the European folks who've been actually thinking that liberal is no regulation. No, we talk about liberal as a progressive, not me, American, not me. The progressive era from the Teddy Roosevelt. Have you ever had any idea? Progressive era at the time, Teddy Roosevelt's Republican Party was truly the liberal-minded. And from American perspective, the libertarian is really a free market advocate who just really wants to actually, maintain free capitalistic economic viewpoint. But in terms of the social value system, they might actually, find comfy zone shared with Republicans, depending upon their own individualized creeds and beliefs. I mean, do you think that I've heard about this, right? Let me actually find out the source. Yeah, definitely in the book. Hold on. I have to find that book. That's a bit annoying, I know. I have to find that book. I found it. Oh, thank you, Lord. I somehow managed to find it. I have to come on. You have to come out. Let me go get you. This is not a PR movement. Excuse me, this is the book that I read even well before I actually went to America. Let me actually show you where I actually learned this information. This was, the cradle of American political science. I learned this idea from this book. Although I kind of suspected the liberal, in America, talking about the Democratic Party in that spectrum. You think that I actually learned it from CNN by listening to it? Let me actually find the very specified. 268. Well, I should say that it's not. I'm not faking it. I actually read it. I never even touched it. I didn't even actually bring this book. I hadn't brought it to the United States. We'll definitely, if I ever actually have a chance to continue my education, I will be very, specific about what I want. Because, during that time, I was actually going through a soul-searching period. Even Professor Morrison admitted that. I would actually, personally have a greater respect for those with, much colorful report cards who've been actually trying, various stuff until one would actually hit the right button by coming up with the right subject they could delve into. I was actually trying to, deepen my, thought system because I had a very weakened ties with, not really weakened. In the first place, I had a very almost non-existential, yeah. Tell the truth, it would be better to say the non-existent ties with the humanities, and I really thought that I had to actually do the very basics by signing up for philosophy classes, which would be the foundations. I thought they would be laying down the infrastructure, then move on, and focus on things you really like to jump into. That was really the thing. And almost, existentially, that was necessary. It was, from the existential agony about my existence, for sure. I couldn't actually. It must be there. You have to actually calm down and think about it. 265. Libertarian. 265. Yeah. I definitely marked it. I really remember it. Maybe my book had been. Yeah, I think, it's somewhere in between. In this, final agenda. In this final chapter, I can actually guarantee that you can find it. Yeah. So anyway, then how about this one? You can actually read it from here. It's really bizarre. I really actually read everything here. Do not actually take this lid off the jar. I took the jar out the lid, I really kind of opened up the Pandora's box to actually, remove everything. I really actually thought that would be an interesting idea, but I just really want to actually find the source. And it was not my idea. And let me actually repeat also this one. You probably heard about that. I actually mentioned once upon a time the Great Depression is sometimes actually, for many different economist's perspective, it would be like the Great Recession because of the tendential depressive symptoms plaguing the economy at the time were really similar to a lengthy recession. You thought that I might actually hear this somewhere else. No. Despite the notion that you might actually think that I actually was fed by the sound bites of a pundits, it's not necessarily the case. I might actually pick up a book to read something, and that's really the choice that I actually made. I don't know what else I can actually say about that. Probably I really have to identify this type of notion that might actually, downgrade the decency of mine. I actually acquired a majority of, information and advice that I might actually, have used to at least, lay down a symbol of understanding or token of appreciation that I actually, had it from different books, and I can actually nail them down even after many years. In this book, I actually learned that concept because of the tendential symptoms that might actually, share a certain resemblance to the Great Depression. I mean, truly, an economic recession is sometimes the one that might replace the Great Depression by calling it the Great Recession. I'm not lying. It's inside this book. Yeah, I can find it. Hold on. Just a matter of time. But the problem is that you have no idea what I actually think about. That's really the deal. If they ever actually had, what I was thinking about, they probably had it done something much earlier to actually, countervail all my progress. But they had it done nothing. At this moment, they just actually claim that I would be completely ignorant of any type of basic understandings that might be required from students who might really want to pursue higher education in America. Let me actually demonstrate that. I really don't lie. I'm not lying. This is not really smoking. They're really the one who should actually be, away from my life. Because, I'm very, I tell the truth, and I'm very happy to, take advantage of the situation to obtain a restraining order that would, forever and more put me away from them. I'm actually happy to have this segregation. You and I would never actually see each other. We were going to say goodbye to each other by beating a farewell. This means the end. We're never going to, mix our words together or change blows. No, I would never actually want to see you. If I ever actually see you, I would have spit on your face, probably. It's really despicable that I have to actually even commingle with this kind of folks. I know it's really commingle with this folks. Yeah. But where is it? Can you find it? Yeah. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Maybe somebody touched this book to take that out, because all my books in this room are one way or another edited. That was really the reason. Because I really remember I actually highlighted it. But it's really gone. I had to do it. Because it wasn't, the pet project of mine, the pork barrel. It's not really a breach to nowhere. I was on the track, at least to attend a certain college in America. And I wanted to actually, at least, take my roots down in that great society. That was something that I was looking for, especially. That was really the reason I was really, hated by my people. I know. What can I say about that? Because the books are somehow changed, and this is not really the exception. These are also equally victimized by the intervention. I think it was some of the book that I used to have. I didn't actually bring this to the United States. It's not really crazy conservatism idea. Yeah, even actually this one, possibly the most stunning part of the Pew Report on long-term training and attitude was the section on social and values issue. Vielleicht möglicherweise die meist überraschende das Teil von Pew Foundation, Pew Stiftung behält an diese langfristige Tendenz oder Trende, wenn es eine Beziehung und ein Benehmen geht, war diese allgemeine Teile an sozialer und Sache oder wird an diese Themen der soziale Werte und allgemeine Würdigkeit und moralische Schätzung. Das ist eine Sache. Oh, it's really bizarre. But let me actually find this recession thing then. Yeah, here. Yeah, great compression. That's really the thing. Yeah, that's what I actually read. And I have to honestly say that this is really ridiculous. I just actually read a certain books, from Jeffrey Tubin. I'm not really lying. Where have I actually got this message about the butterfly hole? Oh, excuse me, can I actually explain this? You actually know the Bush versus Gore. That's about the Florida's hand manual recounting, because so many, older senior citizens at the time had a difficulty to actually, sign, at least, punch a hole in the United States if you ever wanted to actually, vote for something. You need to, have a little, binder ring, and you need to use a pen to punch a hole. But the thing is, this butterfly ballot was just so confusing to many senior citizens. But because, let me actually show you. Where have I actually learned that? Excuse me, hold on a second. That's one of the reasons. And where have you actually learned that many black folks were at the time, classified immediately, automatically as a felons? That means, until, 2017 in Florida, If you're already, convicted for felony charges, then you would be automatically disqualified for claiming any voting rights. That means you can no longer function as a voter once you've been actually convicted for felony. This is true. If you have become a felon, an ex-convict who've been actually released from jails, even after serving the full time, not really during the prison time only. If you ever actually serve your prison time to become an ex-convict who actually, finished one's status as an inmate to be released from the prison, still you cannot actually claim your voting rights. Up until 2018. 2018 was really the very landmark era in the United States, especially in Florida. Then Governor Rick Scott, who was really against the notion. He was at some point really, spreading this notion of collecting urine samples from all felons in his state to at least, better manage this, criminal minds. That was what he said. Apparently that was never got accepted. He was even peddling this kind of radical notion to fulfill his, very morally troublesome criminal justice. Thankfully, that was, never been the case, But where have I actually learned it? Excuse me, in this book, we have it. First, Florida, the butterfly. 내 죽었어요. 나 이제 난 죽여버릴까. 인생 한 번 껴야 저희 한 1,000,000원 받을 거예요. 죽여버릴 거야. 1,000,000원 안 받으면 너 이제 불질러 버릴 거다. 씨발. I'm going to set a fire on your house if you don't actually compensate me monetarily. I'm warning you. I'm going to find it from here. This book that I actually purchased when well before I even actually had been in the United States. That means I actually wrapped the book around with this a unique plastic vinyl that I obtained many years ago. This is really different from the current one. The recent one is really opaque. It's really kind of translucent. That means, not fully transparent like this. This is really the butterfly pin. Yeah, it's not really the picture. It's inside this. Hold on. I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna, literally peel off their scalp if they never actually pay the money back. I mean it. Once I say it, I mean it. Mark my word. Yeah, catechism, I know. Where have I actually learned? James Joyce, the Portrait of a Young Artist, a catechism. He very much a devoted person practicing Catholicism, I know. Now, hold on. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know what? The SAT scores were not coincidence. I actually worked, by reading certain things well before I even actually put down my feet on the soil of the United States. What do you actually mean by that? I've fulfilled all my readings faithfully. Let's try to focus on a felon. I can't find it. But I think because the book content itself, already experienced significant upset. It's not my one. I never actually had it done it. I left this book behind. Meanwhile, it had been changed significantly. You know that. I really read it from this book. I read it. Oh, bring me the right coffee, please. I'm begging you. I can find it so quickly. It's not really a matter that I have to hustle and bustle. I couldn't believe that this does not have, Fallon in its book. Because Fallon is just such an important word. It could hardly be dismissed. Oh, I don't really buy that. If you ever obtain an original copy and find the keyword called a Fallon, then you would immediately find it. Because, that argument was greatly dismissed. Because at the time, who was, Florida's governor? No one but a Jeb Bush. He was very cooperative with dismissing the African Americans' ballots by actually classifying them as felons. That means, they would have never exercised or redeemed their voting rights, just like the regular folks out there. Where have I learned that? That's inside the book. Please, obtain the real copy. Now, what I'm holding in my hand is really the one, which is the one with the contamination. I can never actually guarantee that this is really the correct one that I actually read. Anyway, this is really the thing that I actually, remember. I learned it from this book, and using this kind of a Sharpie tool to punch it. But the problem is, this arrows, the actual slots between arrows would be too confusing. It's all written in this book by Jeffrey Toobin, the one that I really liked from New Yorker. I even actually saw him on the train, and it was a really surprising event, I still remember. Because his writing is fascinatingly captivating, that I was really kind of enthralled by his intellectual brilliance, to tell the truth. Because he knew a lot about the things he was talking about. He definitely knew what he was talking about. He does know at this moment too, for sure. I haven't actually done it for many years. But it's inside the book that I actually learned about the Fallons. But in recent years, you remember that in 2018, I was really thrilled to hear this news. In Florida's ACLU worked really hard to, reverse this, punishing onus on African Americans. Because they were likely to be associated with a felony. But the thing is, they've been actually rescued because, the state no longer practices this old retardation of the criminal justice system by making the right choice to bring the state's judicial system by putting this state's judicial system on the right track. That's what I wanted to say, that this was an enormous breakthrough in the history of Florida. Because that eventually robbed so many people of human rights and the basic rights in our civil society. One of the greatest virtue of living in a democracy is the eligibility for voting and the empowerment of voters. If you ever actually meet the qualification, you can definitely go ahead and cast your ballot to at least express yourself as a voter, right? You've been a constituent in that congressional district, and you actually redeem your voting rights, then your existence, your existential reason would be justified in our democratic society, probably. But it's all here. I'm so sorry, but the thing is, the book itself is really changing. I can hardly believe it. Because I actually, I'm not lying. Hello, is there anyone who can actually help me? I'm having, a certain breakdown. I can hardly believe the book would be this much changed. Yeah, I really urge you to obtain a real copy of it and find the keyword Fallon here, and if you ever actually go back to the page, you would have noticed that. That's very important. So many people are, involuntarily dismissed and shunned out of a group of suffragists and voters. That means voting and population has been shrunken from the perspective of the Democratic Party. Al Gore was greatly disadvantaged from this narrow and very intrusive interpretation of voting rights. Amen.